Hello and welcome everyone. Thank you very much for tuning in to the Fan Opposition Show. We've got an absolutely jam-packed show. Got three very special guests that I'll be introducing in a little second. I've obviously got Miss Melina, Luca, AFC and Russ from Arsenal Central as well. All their channel links are in the description, so if you haven't already subscribed, please do drop them a subscribe. Good mates of mine as well, off camera, and massive supporters of the channel, even though they're Arsenal fans, but we're all one big footballing family as well. And if you're new around here, hit that subscribe button down below, put your bell notification on, and as I said, always do get involved on everyone's content, as always. Hopefully, the Reds do avoid defeat. Hopefully, that's a big hopefully from all of us. We've been playing absolutely rubbish. But we're going to be getting the insight from all three fans, obviously their thoughts on obviously Arsenal this season. I'm intrigued, I think all of us are, to see what type of Arsenal we will be coming up against this weekend. But let's get straight into it. We'll be introducing Luca from AFC. Thank you very much for coming on, mate.
Big up, man. Thank you very much for inviting me on tonight for the preview. I'm looking forward to it.
You're very welcome, mate. As always, Miss Melina, how you doing? Thank you very much for coming on.
Thanks so much for the opportunity, and thanks for having me on your channel. I'm looking forward to this preview.
You're very welcome. And we got mate Russ as well. Russ, thank you once again for coming on, mate. Every single one is. How are you doing, mate? Are you okay?
I'm all right, mate. Yeah, not too bad. How's you?
Yeah, not too bad. He's in much better footing, Arsenal, this season anyway. But we'll get to everyone's comments before we do get straight into as I said, please do like and subscribe to everyone's channels. The links are in the description. How you doing, Brian? How you doing, LJ, as well? I would say Liverpool can't afford to lose and Arsenal can't afford to lose. So let's give them the intensity. LJ, we've been trying to... Don't get me started. It was bad enough against Man United. Sally Ho, Gary as well. But we'll quickly go into a quick statistic. Yeah, a couple of years do like statistics from both sides anyway, in terms of both teams heading into the weekend's game. Arsenal have won one of their last 14 Premier League matches against Liverpool, drawing 4, lost 9, a 2-1 home win back in July 2020. They've lost their past 4 in a row, but have lost 5 league games in a row against the Reds. Liverpool have won their past 2 league away games against Arsenal, as many in their previous 20 visits. 2 wins, 9 draws, and 9 losses. So not many victories. They've won 3 consecutive away matches against the Gunners. They've never won 3 consecutive away games against the Gunners, so hopefully that does change come what the weekends. And Arsenal on a run, as we all know, as I said, they're on a fantastic start to this season. Arsenal on a run of 13 consecutive Premier League matches without a clean sheet against Liverpool, conceding 39 goals. Those games, they have only had 1 long runner against opponents without a clean sheet in the competition, and that was 14 matches versus Manchester City, and that is still ongoing. And the final one, Liverpool have conceded, and this is a bad one. I'll ask you with the panel this, and obviously it's a bit of hope. Quite rightly, Arsenal are flying, and you should go into this with a lot of confidence, and mainly due to this stat really. We all know from a Liverpool perspective, Liverpool conceded the first goal in 9 of their past 11 Premier League games, but have only gone on to lose one of those. It was a 2-1 versus Manchester United. As I said, please don't remind me, chat. And obviously the panel is just, don't mention Man United, please. But Luca, firstly, mate, we'll get straight into obviously. What are your feelings, and are you content with the start from Arsenal this season, mate? What's your thoughts on obviously the great start you've had?
First things first, thank you very much for asking. I think it's been a very, very good start to the season. Looking at the results right here, yes, the only defeat against Manchester United. Yes, I was disappointed of that, and we did lose that game to Manchester United because of kind of Arteta's fault, because of the whole substitutions rule, and we played very well. We did play very well in that game. We just got caught in the counter attack, but take Manchester United out of the way. Who would have said at the start of the season, only losing 1 game, and we've won 7 games out of 8? We've had a fantastic start for Arsenal. We've had a great pre-season. banged Chelsea 4-0 in pre-season, right? We were great in pre-season. The only game we lost in pre-season, I don't know if you can count it, behind closed doors, the Brentford B team. But if you don't count that, then we're unbeaten in all pre-season. But no, I think it's been a good start. I think we've had a good transfer window. But the only negative I will say is just we didn't get a midfielder. We didn't get a winger on deadline day. There was reports that were linked with Douglas Luiz. We had 3 bid rejects. Douglas Luiz is not my first choice, but at the end of the day, he is a midfielder where Arteta needed to bring in. But a winger was a must as well, because we sent out our record signing, Pepe, on loan, and then we clearly didn't get no money for it. Whereas when he comes back, we're probably going to get nothing. So
you probably wouldn't have got nothing anyway when he was playing. Like he's from an outside point of view, he's spot on there, mate. I think he's probably one of the most disappointing signings in the last. We'll find out with Nunes, as Melina did remind me, and everyone behind before we started. Nunes has got a lot to prove, and still Pepe did have at Arsenal.
Of course, because look, overall, right, Pepe's been in the Premier League longer than Nunes. Right, on paper, Nunes is probably slightly better than Nicolas Pepe, because I know Pepe has been in the Premier League, and yes, he's had good games. Yes, he's had a bit of look. To me, I don't want to be too negative on the manager because I'm not Arteta's biggest fan. But however, I do think that Pepe should have been given a chance under the manager, because during the lockdown season, when we got knocked out of the Europa League to Villarreal the last time when we were in the European during lockdown season, Pepe was performing very well. There was no pressure. Arsenal won pretty much all their games at the end of that season. We finished 8th, and we were competing with Tottenham for Conference League. And then we finished outside of Europe. Pepe was scoring goals. I remember he scored against Leicester away in the lockdown season. And Pepe was one of those players where you give him a run of games, 5 or 6 games, he'll score goals. So,
you spot on there, mate. We'll probably. I'd much rather speak about Xhaka and Odegaard than Pepe.
We'll talk about Xhaka if you want. We can talk about Xhaka. Xhaka for me has been. Really good.
We'll get there, la. We'll get there. I get your thoughts. Sorry, mate. I get Russ's. But thank you very much for that, mate. Russ, your thoughts obviously on the start, mate. It's much better from an outside point of view. I've analysed this and said, I've enjoyed watching you, as I said before we come on air. Like, Liverpool have started the seasons quite badly in terms of obviously the levels in which we've reached in recent season, mate. But I think it was the game against Brentford and the beginning of the season, mate. I've been really impressed by the way you have started. Yes, you have beat the teams that you should have beat, but that's been something that is, would you say, Russ, that has been labelled at Arsenal that, and similar to Liverpool as well, pre-Jurgen Klopp, we turn up in certain games, but it's the teams where you go into their grounds or you're playing at home where you'd anticipated to get 3 points. But your general thoughts on that, mate?
Well, just going back to Pepe, I mean, I really liked him, to be honest. I thought he was like one of our better players, but obviously we've moved on from him now. I just don't think he sort of sat in Arteta's system. He doesn't cover back. He just wants to roam free on that on the wing. So, and I think Arteta wants more from a winger, more of an inside forward, I would think. And Pepe just doesn't offer that enough, I would say. And I think covering for the fullback, he just doesn't do. And I just don't think he wants that at all. As regards to our start, I think you can't really argue with it, really. I think we've been a little bit fortunate in a way, because we should have played Man City already, but that game was moved, which was quite handy, really, because I think otherwise we would have probably come up against a brick wall there as well. Our only losses against Manchester United, which I think we were a bit hard done by, to be fair.
You've played quite well there. He's played quite well in that game.
I think we were just a little bit naive. I think it's a bit of naivety from the manager, and I think also, I think Saliba didn't really play well that game, but we were pushing up too far, and United just caught us twice on the counter attack. So, I just think Arteta just when we were drawing that game, when we just got that goal to get back into that game, I think we should have just sort of let ourselves breathe for about 10 minutes, just sort of not just go for the jugular like we did. And as I said, I just think we just got caught on the counter attack, even though we played really well.
Yeah.
But yeah, apart from that, we've had a brilliant start. You can't really argue. We've beaten Spurs, which was lovely.
Yeah, right.
None of us like Spurs. So, but yeah, we've just got we've got a cheap player up front. I think Gabriel Jesus, absolutely fantastic. Yeah. He was the player we needed. We've had Albo, who did nothing last season or season before, pretty much. Laka couldn't hit a barn door. So getting an actual striker is actually what we needed, and he is phenomenal. His XG is amazing. I just, the only thing that sort of brings me down with him, he should have had more goals by now. Yeah. He's not going to score as many as Haaland, no way. But I think for what Jesus offers us, I think he should have a few more goals. But that's neither here nor there. We're top of the league, so it don't really matter. I was one of those guys. I wanted Arteta out probably last Christmas time, because we were going through patches where we would win 3 games in a row, then we'd lose 3 games in a row, and I just don't think it was clicking at all. But hindsight's a wonderful thing. The board have stuck with him. They've given him the money. And I think Edu deserves credit as well, to be fair.
Yeah.
For the players that we're buying now, there's actually a philosophy there, and all the players that have been brought in are buying into it. I mean, even Xhaka's raised his game. The renaissance of this guy, he's been. Yeah. It's one of those. It's also like a film, really, isn't it? At the beginning where they're hated, and then they sort of redeem themselves at the end. I mean, he's been amazing for me. I think that player's been in there the whole time, but we just haven't had a player like Partey
alongside him to get the best out of him. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So I prefer Xhaka when he's sort of roaming through the midfield and pushing forward. That is what he's there to do. He's not a defender by any stretch of the imagination, but Partey in particular gives Xhaka that space, that freedom to go up and actually more of a creator more than anything else. But yeah, I think we can't argue with our start to the season, to be honest. We've been pretty good. And also we've got Zinchenko as well. I mean, he's fantastic. I love watching Zinchenko. And so we've got those 2 players from Man City, and it's upgraded us to another level.
He's such a good technical player, isn't he? He's so good. Like, even as much as it annoys me, like the quality City have had over the last 4 or 5 years, and I knew instantly, and that he'd do fantastic in terms of whether he play him in midfield or even down the left hand side in that Arsenal system. But you're spot on there, mate. Thank you for that, mate. Melina, what's probably one of the most positive aspects to come from the beginning of the season? Obviously, Russ mentioned Gabriel Jesus in terms of his start of the season, but for you personally, what's really made you smile more?
I want to say something about the transfer window. It was the first time in a long time Arsenal done their transfer business, majority of it early on in the window. And Arsenal, typically the Arsenal that I know in the Emirates, is not the club to do that. To get rid of a lot of our dead wood. Yes, we maybe got a packet of crisps and peanuts for it for some of our players, but to get rid of and totally revamp our squad to another level, to the maximum possible for that window, and to early on sign Gabriel Jesus, have a full preseason for our players. Last season, some of our players barely had a preseason. And I think, as Luca mentioned, this preseason, it really gave the idea of a preseason, match fitness, get your game time, get your minutes under your belt. And we saw youngsters get opportunities to shine. Players like Marquinhos, we saw come in. For me, signing so far in the summer of Gabriel Jesus, but also Fabio Vieira, it was an unexpected signing. No one really knew the player and what he had in him. He's still a very young player, so he still has a lot to develop, but he looks so hungry and proven to, shine in the Premier League and to prosper. And to see us improve also last season and transpire this season on set pieces. Arsenal are a team on set pieces. We have improved immensely. And that's something we need to give credit to our coaching staff and the set piece coach specifically. For me, overall, this season and last season, we've unleashed, took 7 seasons now to fully unleash the Granit Xhaka from Switzerland.
I was going to ask you, what has happened with Granit?
It's like someone has put a magic spell on us. When we have a fully fit Thomas Partey alongside the Switzerland version of Granit Xhaka, we get the best of both worlds and we get the maximum potential out of them. But also what Russ said, he's able to move forward more and roam more to be able to create chances for us. And even though Odegaard can have a quiet game sometimes, when we see Granit Xhaka, when we get a free kick, we already know that's going to be a Granit Xhaka chance. We can put our money on that already. And, a couple of seasons ago, I want to say this as well, Jack. 2-3 seasons ago, our defensive back line, our center, the reliance on our defensive back line was Mustafi. Respects to Mustafi for being a World Cup winner, but at Arsenal Football Club, he wasn't cutting it. To go from a Toyota Matrix Mustafi to William Saliba, almost like a Rolls Royce, it felt like a new signing. And
David Luiz as well.
We loaned him out 3 times, mind you. Loaned him out 3 times. At Marseille, he got best young player of the year for France, under Marseille. Got the Champions League experience under his belt, and to come into the Premier League and put even Tony under his pocket, Wilfried Zaha, and even Heung-min Son at 21 years old speaks volumes. And I don't want to put so much pressure on our players, but the start of the season, you can't complain. It was 1 defeat to Man United. Man United are a counter-attacking team. They caught us on the break twice. We played a high line in the second half. The substitutions didn't necessarily work out, and it cost us the game. You could even say officiating decisions, but before you bring officiating decisions, you need to talk about your players and you need to hold your players accountable. And away from home at Old Trafford, we unfortunately did not. We played as I felt like we could have done better if we had a fully fit Thomas Partey. We also didn't have him, so that's another disadvantage. But to take on Liverpool at home, it's the first time in a long time I can come on a Liverpool fans channel and say I'm feeling confident. And it's the first time I'm hearing Liverpool fans say they're not as confident because of how their season has been so far.
Some Liverpool fans might be confident as well.
Yeah, some of them might be confident because of Jota and Firmino always saving them against us. But no, we've had a good start to the season overall. And the other thing, just before you ask the next question, is we finally have reinforcements in key positions. Last season, we overplayed Bukayo Saka because Pepe was hardly getting a run of games. Pepe didn't necessarily suit the system that Arteta was trying to play, and he barely got minutes. He barely was used as a facilitator. And unfortunately, Bukayo Saka, it was almost like he was overplayed week in and week out. Our players were made out of glass, especially people like Kieran Tierney and Thomas Partey. You saw Tierney last week, just this week against Bodo Glimt. He had an incredible game. And if we have a fully fit team, especially our midfield, that's where most games are won, in the midfield battle. So hopefully we can keep our players fit.
Yeah. Is there any injury concerns before we move on to the next section? Is it for Arsenal?
Is Andy Robertson back?
For Liverpool, no, it will be Costas. Costas been playing quite well as well. But big up, a massive thank you to
thanks, Bargav.
Bargav. Apologies if I mispronounced that.
Arsenal, there's only Smith Rowe and El Neni.
Yeah, good, that mate. Bargav, thank you for your super chat, mate. Really do appreciate it. Big up Mel and Luca. This is the most exciting Liverpool/Arsenal in years. It's going to be massive on Sunday, by the way. Hope Nunes keeps his form. Don't get me started on Nunes. I don't know if you've been watching my channel, but I think all of us. Before he come into the club, I went to the second leg against Benfica, and I come out of that stadium going, wow. I know it was only 25 minutes of watching a lad, but the fact that he scored about 2 for the offside goals, and I could, when you come out of a stadium or you watch it on telly, and you're like, bloody hell. 2-3 years prior, we played Salzburg, and for some reason we decided to pick Minamino out instead of Haaland. Don't ask me that question, but yeah, Haaland was banging goals in at Anfield a couple of years ago before he even moved to Dortmund. But yeah, we went and got Minamino. But thank you, Bargav, for your super chat, mate. Hopefully you enjoyed the weekend. As I said, hopefully Arsenal will get a result. But as you got every Arsenal fan's got to be proud of the way he's started. And we'll speak about Arteta in a later section of the show in terms of his tactical approach, really. Has he changed tactics in certain areas? And what is he... he's done a lot of work behind closed doors. That was really positive anyway. But thank you very much for the super chat. Big up the 1892 Reds podcast as well. Big up Tara and big up Shay. Just alluding to what all of you have mentioned. Saliba at the back looks good as well. Starwin, give him a chance, he will score. Well, hopefully, Gary. Hopefully. Big up Jamie as well, mate. Thank you very much for tuning in, mate. Absolute legends as well. Hope all as well. Big up Eamon as well. Hello, just everyone saying hello. How you doing, Steve? Absolute legends. But Gary, Liverpool have to attack at pace and get at the Gunners 100%, mate. It will be tough, but Liverpool will win and get the 3 points. Fingers crossed, Gary. We'd all take a 1-0 against Arsenal. As I said, it was reading out those stats. We've only won, was the 2 wins. So our recent 20 visits to Arsenal is 2 wins, 9 draws, and 9 losses. So, yeah, that's going away. So
the thing is, I looked at a stat the other day, and when you got those stats up, there was only one stat you were missing, and something where people weren't talking about. Since 2015-2016 season, Arsenal have only lost 3 times at the Emirates.
That's good. That's good going. That's really good going.
That's something which I looked up yesterday. So,
there we go, Luca. Nice one for that, mate. It's a great stat there. But obviously, I'm confident, and I'm Panov just saying I'm confident for a win, but Nunes has to start. Yeah, we all have to go with it. I'm hoping we go 4-2-3-1, but it's the Arsenal show. Enough about me and Liverpool. I'm intrigued to see what the
Why is it that Liverpool always go with a 4-2-3-1? Is it because it worked on Tuesday against Rangers?
I think it's because it worked on
more protection.
Yeah.
What we didn't say, Melina. Sorry.
I think he doesn't trust your midfield entirely yet, so he thinks the 4-2-3-1 is more safety, so you're not leaking goals from the midfield.
Yeah, I think all of us would agree. Go ahead, Russ.
That's all right, man. How badly do you think you're missing Mane?
Well, we're speaking before we come off air, and Mane was probably my favourite Liverpool player ahead of Salah, mainly due to the fact that he was always the one that stood up. I think users neutrals watched that Champions League final about 2-3 years ago when we got beat by the Bale overheads and the Karius fumble and all that. Mane, that game and certain games, yes, he turned up 6 months after AFCON. Mane turned up, but I think any team of any, even though it was Barca, Bayern Munich, PSG, missing a player of that quality, even City. I think if you took a player that ability, say De Bruyne out of City's team, not saying De Bruyne and Mane are completely different players, but in terms of how important they were to the system and the team, really, I think, I think for his personality, Russ, and as well as his quality, but in terms of his leadership on the pitch, I think he was a player that would stand up to the big occasions, or even if the team wasn't performing to the highest standard that we've seen in recent seasons. I think he was one of those players that would give his all on the pitch and leave nothing. And even he's a battler. He's been a battler his whole career, even in France as well, and at a young age, and in Salzburg and that. But how do you feel, Russ? I was going to say it's a good question. That makes. Do you feel that Liverpool have missed his quality?
I think so. I think that's really factored into the way that you started the season. I mean, I feel the same as you. I think he was better. I think you miss him more than you miss Salah, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I do watch Liverpool a little bit, not as much as you. But yeah, I think definitely from what I've seen, you definitely miss a player of Mane's quality. Definitely, mate.
Yeah, 100%. Great insight as well. Thank you for that, mate. As I said, me and Melina and obviously Luca and Russ were speaking behind camera as well. Chat, let us know your thoughts as well. But Luis Diaz, still 25, 26. He's not a Mane. He's got a couple of years to get to that standard. But I think very similar. I think we bought him at a similar age than when we bought Mane from Southampton. He's 24, 25. Banged a hat-trick against Liverpool. Of course, anyone that scores against Liverpool, we sign usually. A couple of years down the line, apart from Haaland, but we're not going to get drawn on Haaland.
You can have the Ox.
Oh, Christ! Don't get me started. That's a whole new. Did we pay 40 million for them? Was it a couple of years ago?
That's a bargain, mate. Bargain.
Yeah, I bet you were laughing under the table for that money.
Years now, so
yeah. still injured anyway. But that's a whole new show in itself. Anyway, the Oxlade-Chamberlain bloody debate. But yeah, big up chat as well. If you got any comments or questions for the panel, I will get to them at the back end. I will try and. So we've mentioned obviously the form in which Arsenal show has been absolutely fantastic. Obviously star players. We've mentioned obviously Gabriel Jesus, obviously Granit Xhaka, Odegaard we've mentioned as well. But the two final points we will be discussing obviously the setup. I'll ask all three panelists how they foresee their starting 11 to be. But Melina, I'll firstly start with you in terms of Mikel Arteta. Has he changed anything drastically in terms of since the back end of last season, or is it, as you mentioned before, is it a case of certain players coming back into the system and with the addition of obviously Gabriel Jesus, the quality in which he offers, the mentality most importantly to the side? Have you noticed any tweaks that Mikel has really done?
I think from when he started, he's showing a lot less naivety and a lot more improvement in terms of using the substitutions at a right time and also choosing the proper starting 11. He now knows better on, these players were the youngest players in the Premier League last season. They're now a year older with experience. And he now knows what his best starting 11 is, but also credit needs to be given when and where it's due to the board and to Josh Kroenke, who, went after the reinforcements that we needed. Not signing a player in January costed us top 4 to Tottenham, possibly. That was also part of it, but also injuries were part of it. But for me, we finally have reinforcements in key areas. We've strengthened, you can see in quality and you can see in numbers, but I feel Arteta is a lot less naive now. In his first season, he did win us the FA Cup and the Community Shield against Liverpool. But personally, last season, we showed improvement where we would come back into a game like Wolves in extra time and win the game. 2 seasons ago, our defensive back line, you couldn't trust them with anything. Our defensive back line was so easily able to be ripped apart. And it was a field day, a training session when we played Liverpool. Liverpool always scored high numbers against us, and it was embarrassing. Now to have a solid back line and to see fluid attacking football from the midfield to the attack, you can trust our defensive back line. The other thing is, I really want to say in training, I think they've improved a lot working on training on these players, but also the physio staff. The physio staff keeping our players fit, hopefully match fit for as long as possible. For me personally, Arteta has shown a lot of improvement. When he first got the job, there was a lot of times I felt he was naive and he would pick favorites rather than who was performing well at the time.
And so that's been labelled a Klopp that Melina as well.
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah. And well, not the moaning and bickering like a Jurgen Klopp.
Yeah. But, when you start winning trophies. Yeah. Every manager, even Wenger, the Fergies, all the great managers.
Of course, Klopp deserves a lot of credit. He is an elite manager. But I felt at times Arteta was naive with substitutions, brought them on too late or didn't bring them on at all. There were times where he played players out of their respective positions. Last season, 2 seasons ago, when we were in the domestic cup game, Granit Xhaka was played out of position and it ended up causing him to be scapegoated. He tried to do this false 9 thing that he saw Tuchel do the night before our game, and it clearly didn't work out. You're playing players out of their respective positions. It's almost like a Southgate for London. How do you expect players to shine when you're playing them out of their natural position? Ben White is not natural. Naturally a right back. He's a center back. And to see him shine in that position so far, but to me, it still feels that, we need to strengthen in a midfielder and a winger this coming window in January. Hopefully we get that reinforcements. But now I'm starting to see a game plan. And the credit for me comes down also to the fact that the board have backed him and the board financially backed him. It's not just go and sign commercial signings for revenue like a Ronaldo coming back to Manchester United, for example. It's go and sign the players that you feel you need and get the reinforcements that you see, scouting wise. Who's turning up? Who do you feel would best suit the system and style of play? No longer in the Premier League, a lot of teams no longer do the 4-4-2 like the old classic ways. And I think now reverting back to that one striker, we have a lot more control in the midfield and in the defensive back line. and we can trust our players now. I think Nketiah has demonstrated against Chelsea last season he can shine, and if you give him the opportunity, if you give these players the minutes under their belts, or if you loan them out like Saliba, if you feel they're not ready yet, loan them out, get them to a good club, get them minutes under their belts. And that takes a lot of, courage to make that decision. But I also want to mention the Aubameyang situation briefly. For a manager to handle a situation like that pretty much with less PR, it could have been like the Lukaku thing at Chelsea last season, where it blew headlines. Lukaku was doing interviews right, left, and center. Or it could be like Harry Maguire at Manchester United, where they have leaks every week of what goes on in their dressing room. The Aubameyang situation, to have to deal with that, there were a lot of situations that happened behind the scenes that we saw in that documentary. For me, the manager has learned a lot from past experience and from what he had to deal with certain players and their disciplinary issues. I think he handled that well, and credit is given when and where it's due. For me personally, I see improvement in our style of play, especially on set pieces. We've improved drastically. We still have to improve in more in terms of taking our chances and being clinical. There's some times where we're playing a game and we get the first goal, we get the second goal, and then we sit back and we invite the other team to get into the game. You can't afford to do that against a team like Man City or Liverpool. Yes, we haven't played them yet, but if you do that against those teams, they'll catch us on the break and they'll destroy us. But yeah, that's just what I feel.
Absolutely spot on. Luca, I know we're hard pressed for time. I've got another 10 minutes. Don't want to keep this too long. But Melina's spot on. What is, from an outside point of view, as Melina touched on, in terms of he's quite young in his managerial career. Obviously, Jürgen at his time at Mainz, and certain other managers have had probably better footing. But there's no harder league. As much as anyone must have argued, the Premier League is the hardest league in world football in terms of physicality. But now we're seeing the top 10, top 15 teams. Everyone can take points from everyone. And the fact that he's doing it, and yes, he will make mistakes along the way, like he has done over the last couple of seasons. But as all three of you have said, he's done a lane. But as Melina touched on there, Luca, what's probably one of the most positives or a negative that probably we'll go with positive really in terms of off the back of last season going into this season? Have you noticed any changes?
I think the most positive thing is, look, normally people ask me about negative things and people don't like my negative things, but no, the positive thing is, what I will say is that, look, what Mel said is spot on. He managed to deal with the Aubameyang situation. Look, if you're talking about a different manager, maybe like an elite manager, then that's something different, because like Thomas Tuchel, he has a good relationship with Aubameyang before he got sacked for Chelsea. But getting about the changes for Arsenal, there has been changes because Mikel Arteta has managed to deal with getting rid of Aubameyang. Of course, I didn't want him to go on a free, but however, there has been changes on that. He's managed to deal with the saga and all that, why he was late for training and all that. And I know there's been individual negative fans saying about, oh yeah, let him go on a free. Typical Arsenal would do that. But however, there has been a few changes. Look, I'm not Edu's biggest fan. I'm not Kroenke's biggest fan. But however, you've got to give credit to Edu, because
the recruitment's been spot on, mate, from an outside point of view. The fact that you've got Gabriel Jesus from Manchester City,
back, which I'm very, very surprised, because he only played one friendly match against MK Dons. So Saliba came, Jesus has come, Vieira's coming as well. I did have my little doubts about Fabio Vieira because of his appearance he made in the Champions League and in 3 years, and we paid that sort of money where we could have got someone like a Tinnemans in that position. But Vieira's done all right since he's come in. He doesn't get a lot of games, but he's there as squad depth. But no, there has been changes. And I know people have talked about this Arsenal all but nothing documentary. I've seen parts of it and all that. And
I enjoyed it. It was good. But you laughed about, was it 5-10 years ago when we had Rodgers handing out bloody was envelopes with Joe Allen's name in and all that. Christ.
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
it. Was it Channel 5 back in the day? 5
Yeah,
Live or whatnot.
But no, we all remember when Liverpool used to be on Channel 5. But no, but no.
Yeah, behave there, lad. I was kicking. I was joking.
But however, look, there has been changes in that. Like this season, he's had a very good pre-season. He's dealt down. He said, like, I'm surprised Arsenal have done well in the summer. But the negatives I'm going to talk about, this is what people don't like, right? The negatives is that when we failed to get top 4 last season, I started to feel, why is this manager signing a contract, right? You're giving him a contract towards the end of the season where you deal with it and wait a minute. Like, we're in a top 4 battle. When we lost to Southampton, Crystal Palace, Brighton, they're usually our bogey teams, right? And I know we beat Palace this season and we've got Southampton coming up this month. But however, when we lost those 3 games, I started to feel, right, why is this manager signing a contract? And we played.
Even I was fuming. I was fuming, mate, as well. Didn't you have like 3 games in hand twice or something?
Yeah, we did. And we had Chelsea away at Stamford Bridge. And that's where it started to kick on. And I'm thinking, we got that win against Chelsea. I was thinking, hold on a minute. We've got a chance to beat Man United. Then we beat Man United at home. And then we go again. And then we beat West Ham. Then we beat Leeds. But what really frustrates me is that this whole Arteta song came in, right? Like, we've got Super Mikel Arteta. He knows exactly.
Go on, Luca. Give it the full beans.
Arsenal on the way to the Champions League.
Pretend you're in the Cavern Club. Go on.
But the thing is, everybody got too carried away. And for me, why would you give him a contract where you challenge him for top 4? And then he bottled top 4 within like 4 points clear, where all he had to do was win either against Newcastle or Tottenham. We lost to Tottenham and then go and beat Newcastle on Monday night. It's not like Norwich were going to do an incredible thing because Norwich can't win games anyway. So that was my only weakest point with Arteta. And I'm thinking, right, okay, how many chances has he had? He has spent nearly 400 million. He's been at the job for like 4 years. But now he has impressed me. For me, he has to get top 4 this season. He has to get top 4 and win a trophy. And then it's about maintaining that. I mean, it's about whether we can start challenging for the league. That's what I want to see from an improvement. If he doesn't get top 4, I don't want to hear any of our fan base saying, oh, yeah, he had a good start to the season. He had a good window. Give him time. You can't have that. And for me, if he gets top 4, right, he can stay and he can maintain it. There's no point sacking him thinking, well, okay, you want to sack him, then you're going to get an elite manager. It's not going to happen, okay? It's not 5 seconds. It's not round the corner. So for me, he has to get top 4 this season. Yes, if people are talking about title contenders, it's a bit too early to say. We're
only years off that, I think, yeah.
And for me, are we going in the right direction? We kind of are or not. But this January is crucial for Arsenal, okay? People were saying to me whether, Luca will still get top 4 if we don't strengthen anyone. However, what really impressed me last week against Tottenham, I was confident we'll win the game, but at parts I was very nervous in the game where Tottenham had a good spell in the first half and we battered them in the second half. But what really impressed me was that win. So that started to make sure that made me, we can get top 4 this season. And I think we can. But I think January is crucial. If Edu and the Cronkies have backed this manager and spent nearly 400 million, January we've got to spend. We've got to get a central midfielder and a winger. Mainly if we just need 1 or 2 key players in January. So, but no, what at the moment, the top of the league, top of the Europa League group stage. Let's see where it takes. Let's find out whether this manager is good enough on Sunday.
Yeah, spot on, mate. Absolutely spot on. And Russ, in terms of, it's a great comment from obviously Rob here. Hope you're having a good day, Rob, as well. Appreciate you dropping in, mate. Arteta's the best thing that's happened to Arsenal in the past 10 years. And what obviously Melina and obviously Luca have just alluded to there, Russ. It's what you've learned from last season is very pivotal in it going into this season. For me, I've always looked at Liverpool. We've got to take one game at a time, and it frustrates me. I've done it in the past, and it's just fans, or every fan base does it. You look at the fixtures and go, right, that's 3, 6, 9 points from that, but you've just got to go one game at a time, mate, haven't you? As you alluded to there before, there, Russ, you probably weren't Arteta's biggest fan. What's your feelings in and around, obviously, Arteta and from a tactical sense, really, mate? And obviously going to this game on Sunday, do you think he will have learned from the big games that he's played against Liverpool last season?
I think last year it was more or less a case of we just didn't have a striker at all, did we? Alba was on the way out anyway. I think we all sort of knew that quite early into the season. He wasn't going to pull up any trees and score 30 goals like a striker of his caliber can do. I know obviously he's getting on in years, but and Laka, he was never ever going to get. I think he scored 4 or 5 by the end of the season. Eddie Nketiah, he sort of came into his own at the end of last season. I was quite surprised we kept him on, but I suppose that last little flurry he had at the end of last season with a few goals he scored, he's got his contract. He's working out. He's looking like a different player to me. But yeah, I think it's Gabriel basically. He is immense. As I said before, he's a cheap player for Arsenal. You'll always be able to rely on him, and if he's not scoring, he'll be assisting. And I think he is the key to why we're doing so well this season.
Yeah, I was made up we took him away from City, but then yet again, you just got.
He's not going to get in ahead of Haaland, is he? So
I was going to say, Haaland's getting 100 goals this season.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but he's spot on. I think he probably beginning of the season. I think I was speaking to Melina on the pre-season show as well. We spoke about obviously how many goals he will get. And I felt he will get 15, 20 goals in the Premier League with the service and the quality around him. But yes, spot on, absolutely. I've touched on obviously his setup. I'll just quickly rattle through. Russ, go with your starting 11 from Arsenal. Do you foresee? Who do you think will be?
Well, as long as everyone's fit, mate. Well, we're going to have Ramsdale, White at right back, Saliba, Gabriel, Megalas, is it? I can't remember how you say it. Zinchenko. I feel sorry for Tierney actually because he's not a bad player by any stretch of the imagination, but I think
played last night. I watched it.
Yeah,
watched a bit of him, yeah.
I don't think he'll be starting against Liverpool, which obviously Zinchenko offers. He's different type of player, isn't he? He can play in midfield as well, which I think is quite.
Do you think Zinchenko would be a worry against Liverpool's wingers to start Diaz and Jota?
We'll see, won't we? We'll see on Sunday. I don't think so. I think Zinchenko's more than capable of sort of nullifying a threat coming from the right from Liverpool. Because I see Arsenal playing because it's easier in my head if I think of Arsenal as just playing a 4-3-3. So you've got the 4 at the back, you've got your Odegaard, you've got Partey, Xhaka in the midfield, and then you've got Martinelli, and you've got Saka, and you've got Gabriel Jesus up front. So basically, it is a 4-3-3, but you can play it out as whatever you like, really. But I mean, we've got to win the midfield battle. We have to, otherwise Liverpool may not have had the greatest start this season, but they still have the players that could kill us. It's true.
Russ, we've got no Thiago. Christ Almighty. We might be going like full on Brexit midfield with James Milner and Jordan Henderson in the midfield.
Don't worry, Firmino will still score a hat trick, mate.
Yeah,
don't worry about
that. But yeah, I love Henderson, but Milner. It's like Benjamin Button, like every single year. He's such a great professional to have around the club. But when
Milner as well,
and Henderson as well, and Milner, but when everyone used from an outside point of view, we've seen Liverpool's midfield. What Liverpool thrived on the best part of the last 3-4 seasons when we played well is obviously the athleticism in Liverpool's midfield, and Henderson and Milner just quite frankly haven't got the legs. Melina, would you go quite similar with Russ?
I'd actually do the same 11 as Tottenham. So what Russ said, only one change. Personally, I feel Kieran Tierney is ready to start and should start this game. Zinchenko was not in training on Wednesday before the Europa League match Thursday. I think it's a precaution for Sunday's game. I keep thinking it's tomorrow. I wish it was tomorrow so we can get it over with.
Get it over with.
But I'd actually prefer to have Kieran Tierney. I really think Kieran Tierney, I'd prefer his awareness and his directness of his game. Also, the crosses that he brings is something we could really use. He's very, very sharp with his positional awareness wise, and he can take on players like Trent and Salah. So that's something that I would like to see. And I think he would be better off to see him start. But if we have Zinchenko starting, I wouldn't mind. A couple of years ago, I'd say it would be a crisis because we don't have other players to start in certain positions. And to now see healthy competition, it's about time.
Yeah, spot on. Luca, quick starting 11, mate. Would you go with?
My starting 11, I'll go for. I mentioned this on Doug's channel. So this afternoon.
Shout out Doug as well. Doug,
big up to Doug if you're watching or not. But go and subscribe to Doug.
I hope he does.
Great YouTuber. So I hope if he's watching, if he is. Lineup I'll go for Ramsdale in goal. Right back. I know Ben White has done very well. For me, of course, I will keep his place because I know Tomiyasu had a very good game, but I don't think he's not going to be ready for Liverpool. And how I want to set it up is you can't really throw Tomiyasu in the game. And I know it's going to be interesting how Ben White, because I was questioning about the North London derby last week, how we set it up, our 4-3-3 formation, how we've played, how's Arteta done it this season. When we had Son Kane coming up against Ben White, that's where I was a bit concerned. But Ben White done very well last week. So I'll go with Ben White, centre-backs, Gabriel and Saliba. Left back, Kieran Tierney was my man of the match last night. And I know Zinchenko is probably going to start. But for me, I'll go with Kieran Tierney. I don't think he's not going to start. I think he'll play Zinchenko. But for me, if I was the manager, I'd go with Kieran Tierney because I do think, yes, he played very well. Yes, he's just getting some minutes because he's just coming back from injury. And he had a little head injury during the international break for Scotland. So I'd go with maybe someone like Kieran Tierney because I feel like he can deal with the likes of Diaz and Jota and that. So, I'm not saying Zinchenko isn't a bad player. We've got two very good left backs. When's the last time Arsenal had a two good, very left back? We've had worse.
Good old Kieran Gibbs. Yeah, I remember him.
Kieran Gibbs was bang average.
Ashley Cole and Clichy. That's it.
We've had players like Andre Santos and Kolasinac.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm gonna go with Kieran Tierney at left back, but I think he'll play Zinchenko anyway. The three as usual: Xhaka, Partey, Martin Odegaard. As Ross said, the midfield is a massive battle. It was good that Arteta managed to rest Thomas Partey yesterday. I said it in my match reaction last night on my channel. It was good that Mikel Arteta managed to rest Partey because if Partey was coming on and starting, there would have been questions about the managers. So, and I do think bringing on the likes of Jesus and that, lucky enough, the positive thing is that they didn't get injured, which is very good. But I'll go with Xhaka and Partey sitting. Martin Odegaard in the number 10. In the front three, the usual, Saka, Jesus, and Martinelli. Like I know Martinelli played in the week, and there's no way Arteta ain't going to drop Martinelli because if you drop Martinelli, we don't have any decent wingers.
I'd love Martinelli.
Pepe's gone out on loan. He ain't going to come back next season. Marquinhos is a young kid. Reece Nelson, for me, is not good enough. So that would be my 4-3-3 system, and that's how I think Arteta will play.
Spot on, mate. Absolutely spot on.
Yeah.
Chat are just like they're bringing some great Liverpool legends out here. We've come a very far way, like a very long way under Jurgen Klopp. You remember Kenny rocking up, telling Wenger to F off on the touchline. I remember being a kid. I was so giddy. I was about like 10 or so back then. It was a Boué on Dirk House. I remember when a Boué gave away a penalty last
That was in
the
the 2010-11 season. That was a Sunday, and that was 101st minute. Right, we scored in the 90. We scored in the 98th or something like that. I think it was 90 something, and they scored 101st minute. Wenger was complaining to the who was the Liverpool manager?
King Kenny. It's good how Scotsman told him where to go. Really.
Yeah, I raised that from my
Liverpool
memory.
had very bad players back then. You had bad players back then.
I have good memories though of playing Arsenal. I remember that Champions League game. In the Champions League, Theo Walcott, Fabregas, Adebayor.
What's funny about that? I was at the first leg in 2007-8 season, and for me, I do think we should have had a penalty in that game from Alexander. That was definitely, and the Babel died in the second leg.
Yeah, as a giddy
player he was.
Yeah, Christ, that's another one for the.
Babel still plays.
That's one for the books.
One for the books. Clichy actually goal as well. Jay Speeding. It's quick. I get your score predictions in a little second as well, and then we'll shoot off. But I feel Arsenal will want to come out fast and try and nick a goal early doors.
That's what we've been doing this season. He makes a very good comment, Darren, and we've been doing that this season, and that's really got me out of my seat. Like, we've come out very fast, getting the first goal. Brentford away, Palace away. These sort of teams, Arsenal would go and struggle. And for me, we've gone and battered them. Like Palace, 2-0 was not really convincing battering at Palace, but 3-0 against Brentford. Arsenal fans were worried that we're only going to scrape the win or just not win that game. So that's really made us positive. And I hope we can do that against Liverpool.
Hopefully not. You spot on, mate.
If we did that against Liverpool, my God, it's going to send.
I'll be getting messages off all three of you anyway. I'm pretty sure.
I've got to get your number.
But yeah, I feel Arsenal both spot on there, Darren as well. Adam, Christ, Chas, Lucas Lee, Con the ref. Yeah. And don't get me started on Rafa. I'm going to go on another rant here. Rafa, I think he got the award that Neymar got a very long time ago when he was at Santos, the Brazilian. Before he moved to Liverpool, Lucas was a box-to-box, but Rafa, being typical Rafa, converted him to a central defensive midfielder. Don't know why, because, the better said, the better, really. He was more of a cult hero, but similar with Jordan Henderson, he divides the fan base anyway, even still. It'd be good from a neutral point of view, really. Both teams, as we've said, score quite a lot of goals anyway. It's always an exciting game. But Shaq, get your score predictions in. Luca, quick score prediction from you, mate.
Yeah, score prediction I'm going to go for where this game is going to go. It all depends how we come out, really, in the first half and how we've been doing it this season. If we come out on top, I think we'll get a point in this game. I do think I do think we can get something out of the game. But if you
draw 2-2 or
no, we'll go with a 4-3-3. That's how Arsenal are going to play.
3-3? Yeah.
No, do you mean the formation?
No, the score, mate.
The score. I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw. I do think there'll be goals in this. And I'll be 100% happy to take a point. I know people might say, including myself, it's the best chance to beat this, best chance to this. And Arsenal don't do that. Every time when we play a team that has the best chance to do it, we don't do it. This happened to Manchester United before, under Unai Emery, and for me, we didn't win that game. So I think we'll get a point. I'm going for a 2-2 draw.
2-2 draw. Russ?
Yeah.
I'm hoping you've got to be confident. I know you're on a Liverpool channel. What are you going to go with, Russ?
I'm going for it, mate. I'm going for it.
Go ahead.
Oh, God.
I know for the fact
it'd be like a draw, so
we'll be 10 minutes in, and it'd be typical
2-1,
Liverpool.
I reckon. 2-1. Arsenal.
2-1, yeah, Melina.
I'm going for a 2-1 win, and I hope for a Grant Xhaka redemption with a free kick goal, 25 yards out would be nice.
Sliding on his knees in front of the Liverpool fans.
Hopefully,
that's what we want.
Going to their far post and kissing the badge like a Lukaku.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go.
I'll take a Jesus and a Xhaka goal with maybe a Luis Diaz goal for Liverpool, and that's a
93rd minute goal. Yeah.
Consolation one. But yeah.
I'll take a Darwin Nunes red card, mate. At this point.
Yeah. I saw him having to think. I'm looking away into the deep depths of how rubbish we have been. I'm gonna go with a draw. I can see it being a draw. I'm gonna go 1-1. Sorry, chat, but
I can see it being a draw. Absolutely, I can see it being a draw.
Yeah, but it wouldn't surprise me if Arsenal, and he's been absolutely flying, as we've already discussed.
Would you be very surprised if Liverpool come out on top and win the game?
Not really, because we've got the quality, mates, haven't we? I think you, from an outside point of view, watch this Liverpool team. Probably you speaking to all your mates and going, "Oh, Liverpool."
So
yeah, Liverpool. You're probably messing in the group chats and how rubbish of Liverpool being this season to all your mates, and someone needs to. Haaland's gonna get 100 goals by the end of next week anyway. So unless he there's a petition for him to get him out of the country, which is a bit mad. If you haven't seen it, go and check it out. Even though the lad was born in Leeds, he's going nowhere anyway. Typical Premier League fans anyway.
He should be playing for England. He was born in England. He should be playing for England.
Yeah, Leeds. It's Leeds. There's loads of them anyway. Saying that, Southgate will probably have him on the bench anyway.
Exactly. He'd be playing Kane instead,
Yeah. But it's been an absolute pleasure to have all three of you on. Really do appreciate it. But Russ, please do shout out your channel, mate, and where everyone can find you, please, mate.
It's Arsenal Central on YouTube. I haven't done anything for a while, to be perfectly honest, because I've just been busy doing loads of other things. But yeah, just give us a subscribe if there are any Arsenal fans watching, because I know you lot probably won't want to watch me talking about Arsenal. But yeah, I probably will start doing some videos. But yeah, I've just been busy lately, so it's on the back burner. So
yeah, well, thank you very much for coming on, mate. I really do appreciate you taking the time out tonight, mate. And make sure everyone in the chat, my subscribers and everyone, they're all good. You will pop over anyway. So if you do content, mate, I'm pretty sure you'll see a couple of the faces you've seen tonight, mate. Melina as well, just shout out your channel and thank you once again, as I said to Russ.
Thanks so much, Jack, for having me on your channel. It was a great opportunity and I really enjoyed the discussion. My channel is called Miss Melina. I do Arsenal and Fantasy Premier League content. If you do want to check out my channel, it is just called Miss Melina. And feel free to check out my previous videos. I also feature on a channel called FPL Casuals Weekly, where we talk about stats and FPL analysis.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. And Luca.
Yeah, subscribe.
Shout out your channel, mate, as well.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, subscribe to my channel. That's my channel there, Luca AFC. Yes, we do football content. We do match reaction, match previews, and I do day out vlogs as well. So if you guys haven't gone and subscribed, make sure you guys turn the notifications on. And as always, every time when I go live, always have those notifications bell. We are trying to get to 2.5K. And it can be done. So yeah, subscribe to my channel, Luca AFC, and thank you very much for letting me come on. Much appreciated.
Always a pleasure. All three of you are always welcome, as I said. And thank you, massive supporters of my content as well. Guys and ladies in the comments, please do head over to everyone's. The links are in the description. Mods, if you can, drop the links to they are in the description anyway, but please do head over and support every single one of them. They're absolutely smashing it at the minute. And as I said, from an outside point of view, I've enjoyed watching Arsenal this season. And especially if you do knock Man United. I'm hoping he's knocked them out of the top four this season. Especially if we can't do it, Christ. We need to, someone needs to do the business anyway. But guys, thank you very much. And everyone, make sure I'm going to read out all your comments as well before we do choose off. Obviously, score predictions, bloody hell. Brian's going with a 3-1 Arsenal win. There we go. 4-3 Arsenal, Steve. Bloody hell.
Unlikely, yeah.
2-1 win for Liverpool. So Mark's the only one positive one here. Shay's gone with a draw as well. Legends as well. Thank you very much for that as well. Now I was going with a 2-2 draw. But everyone, thank you very much for tuning in. Panelists, thank you very much for joining me. And everyone, enjoy the weekends. Hopefully the Reds do get all 3 points, but it won't be easy. And we'll see you in the post-match reaction after that. Cheers. Bye.